Recording there. And this one's episode 17. That's cool. That is very cool. Just make sure that this thing is working. All right, we got everything set up. And so let's get it rolling. See if anybody decides to join. These notifications are turned off. Okay, send out that text message and just give it like a few more minutes. Let people barely start coming in. Slowly and steady, they'll show up. Some of them are still probably getting out of work. Some of them don't get to actually come in. Something always pops up. So it usually happens with all these meetings. But it is what it is. Just like I attended a meeting on Monday. This is a network event one. Um, Again, just constantly looking for other buyers, and the network event was supposed to be 120 plus people from there, but only like 60 or 70 showed up. Just a good amount. 50% of them showed up. 50 to 60% of them did show up. So that was really good. Um, but usually with these meetings, that's the way it usually is. People try to go, but then something gets up. But that's why I love to record these meetups, because you never know who's actually really interested on like video formats, and they actually watch the entire video formats, and they actually take notes. Just like myself, I'm constantly taking notes as well too. I'm a paper type of guy, but what time is it? What time is it? 6:03. I'll say let's get started, and then as people come in, let them come in from there. But welcome everybody to a real estate wholesaling analysis paralysis mastery network event. My name is Elton, like Elton John. I don't do any singing. I don't do um, any piano playing, unfortunately, but welcome to another real estate analysis mastery for wholesaling. And wholesaling is just one concept in terms of like real estate. The way I like to learn, and the way I like to teach, is knowing backup strategies just in case you eventually become an investor yourself. It's always best to know, kind of like anticipate anything that might pop up. And so you're kind of like over studying as well too. I was actually never really good at studying. I wasn't really trying to remember everything, but I was really good in numbers. That's where my mastery came in. I was really good at math because I was actually trying to major in aerospace engineering, hence the NASA. I was actually trying to get into NASA. But it's along the way, things pop up, and then you get distracted and you find a new course that actually changes your entire life. And hey, here I am in numbers of real estate. So it just comes rather easily for me. I know everybody is could be very different. Everybody has a different learning curve, and that's perfectly fine. That's part of this. And that's why I try to take my time as much as possible, answer as many questions, which will leave all questions at the end, unless you want me to retouch on something specifically, or just clarify something along the way. By all means, put it on the chat, and I'll answer your questions from there, and then I'll unmute everybody who wants to ask any questions. At the end, I'll unmute everybody, and then you're able to ask your questions there at the end. But again, my name is Elton. I've been wholesaling for the last 9 months. I'm already almost at 10 months. I think tomorrow is already 10 months. Oh, it's crazy. Um, I thought it was actually 8 to 9 months, but it's actually close to 10 months. But Just time flies, man. Time flies. And right now it's another opportunity, new month coming up, new opportunities. The market is going to get hot back again. So it's time to take action because otherwise the competition is heavy in this business. Not just real estate wholesaling, but real estate overall. It's competitive. It doesn't matter what market you're at, it's going to be competitive. And if it's not going to be competitive, it's going to be riskier. So it's either it's kind of like the triangular effect. Do you want a service to be good, fast, or low cost? You're only able to choose like two of them. This is how real estate is. You got to choose if you want to be fast, you want to be cost effective, or if you want to be, I don't know, uh, fast, cost effective, and I think those are the only two that I can think of off the top of my head. If you guys can think of another one, by all means, put it in the chat. But um, yeah, let's just get started. Honestly, I hate talking about myself. I just try to talk about like I don't want to waste you guys' time letting you know who I am, all this and that. I rather just let my action speak for myself because again, that's who I am. I'm an action taker, and I'm just ready to get down to it. So real estate wholesaling, it is a business. You got to consider that as a business because you constantly have to for you to get paid, you have to, which is the last step at the end, is you do have to basically constantly be marketing, reaching out to people, talking to people, because it's a business where you want to bring income. If it's going to be a side hustle, you want to bring a part-time, but eventually part-time, two, three, five deals actually can catch up to what you're actually working on your full-time. So it is a life-changing business, but it does take a hustle. You have to be ready to hustle. You have to be ready to accept rejections. You have to be able to accept the fact that some properties are not going to work no matter how hard you try. It's just things are not going to work and go your way, and that's perfectly fine. Not just with this business, but any business overall. And that's how the world of businesses is. But these are the major steps for real estate wholesaling. And basically, the main one that I'm going to be focusing on what this whole series is about is the estimated repairs and maximum allowable offers. How is it that we have to analyze the deals? Where I put you in a spot of on three different mindsets, because you have to think just beyond yourself as a wholesaler. You have to think what kind of strategies, what outcomes are going to be happening, and also how to negotiate those outcomes as well too. I'm not going to focus too much on negotiating, but I'm basically going to be focusing a lot in terms of how you have to analyze a lot of the deals. We are going to be going through some examples, live examples, as a matter of fact, as well too. I always like to do live. I don't like to do anything. Oh, well, this property, when I checked it out, I will see it's the market is constantly changing. So I want to make sure I'm keeping you guys updated to the most recent market changes. And what I like to do about my examples is I like to go random. I like to go wherever it is possible that the spin the wheel brings me out. And I love to check it out because again, if wherever it is that you're watching in the world, whatever market you're at, the markets could be very different. And I don't want to talk about a specific market because again, there are 50 states with smaller and major cities in each of those states and all those markets, and counties as well too. Basically, counties, all of the counties are going to have different types of markets, and that is perfectly fine. And that's why I like to do live examples rather than in the beginning I used to do just like a specific example. That was because it was a property that I was actually analyzing for like myself. So excuse me, I don't know where the hiccup came from. But basically, those examples is what I saw fit, but then now I like to go back to like the live examples. So that's real estate wholesaling. These are like all the major steps. These major steps do have little steps in between them, but that's the thing that I can't go through all that with you. It's just about you having doing like your research or finding books or just try to get into like the lingo of real estate wholesaling, and all the major steps are pretty much laid out over here, and then you can start doing like some research. The only one that you won't have to do research a lot of it is on the due diligence, which is going to be the numbers. Now, talk about numbers. The very first thing in terms of like numbers is understanding how much a property will be worth, or a lot of what we like to call it is ARV, after repair value. This is basically how much a property will be valued after it gets fully updated This is where the risk comes in, because there are going to be certain areas that there's no activity whatsoever. And what I mean, no activity, there's no other investors in the area that are coming in, updating like any other properties that are fix and flippers. Some of them might be buy and holders. So they don't really do like a lot of work. They try to do the lowest amount of work as much as possible. So that way they can focus mainly on the cash flow. But any fix and flippers that are not in the area, it is going to make it difficult for you to make it a deal. So that's where the high risk comes into play. But after repair value is the number one factor that we have to determine in our numbers. Then the rest of the numbers, they're going to be very differently across the board from investors one, two, and three. So you notice the two major ones that across the board they all do the same stuff, and I've seen them do the same numbers over and over again. Are investors one and two. You're gonna come across other types of investors that calculate like the numbers very differently, because again, we are looking at different markets from across the board. So all those different markets are, again, they're gonna have different results. So the investors already know how much they have to like calculate a lot of the numbers in terms of that. But investors one and two are going to be the most common ones, which I'll be showing you guys in with the calculator on how everything's going to be set up through there. And now the next thing about the investors and how they do like the numbers is repairs. So first we have the ARV, or after repair value. Next, we're going to have the repairs. Repairs, I like to always mention that I do not spend a huge amount of time on repairs. This is where a lot of people get stuck, and sometimes they like overanalyze and they're like overthinking. And the reason I don't like to spend like a lot of times, I like to stick to these average price per square foot repairs, is because if I bring a property to an end buyer, that end buyer tells me that, or I tell the end buyer, based on my numbers, the average repairs is about $30 per square foot at at 1,000 square feet property is basically going to need about $30,000 or worth of repairs. I'm just throwing random numbers right now, and then um, out of the $30,000, the end buyer might tell me, well, this doesn't need $30,000. This actually needs about $65,000, right? And that's the thing. You're gonna come across end buyers that are going to tell you that their numbers are gonna be way higher. They need to do this, they need to do that. Well, that's why it's up to you if you want to make that investment. If it doesn't fit you, then it's just this property won't work for you. But I can definitely reach out to you once I come across something that best suits you, if you want for me to reach out to you back again. Now I can come across another end buyer, and this end buyer is not a fix and flipper. They're buy and hold. They're gonna tell me, well, I can actually do the repairs for about $15,000. So repairs, it comes all three ways. It can be high, it can be low, or it'll be right on the spot. So that's why I like to be on my average repairs. The average price per square foot nationwide are basically going to be these. There are some exceptions on some major cities and states as well too. Main ones are going to be New York, California, Dallas, Florida, Washington. So those major states, they are going to be a little bit plus on the repairs just because of labor. Those states usually the contractors charge more on the labor. The material prices are going to be the same across the board, but it's just going to be the labor that's going to be more expensive. The more you start doing like a lot of deals, a lot of flippers start doing more deals, and then they use the same contractor, then that's how they slowly start bringing their costs, because again, they're bringing constant business to the contractor that they don't want to use anybody else. They acquire them for themselves, and hence why the numbers do fluctuate in repairs. But whenever we're looking at repairs, it's all about listing them down. What are the things that we start looking into? For average repairs, once I start putting in bathroom, kitchen, floors, I'm already know that I'm going to be heading over to like average repairs. Light repairs, light repairs are going to be more in terms of just a complete rental. So if you're currently renting like your place right now and it has like a carpet, and you've been living in there for like 10 years or maybe less, maybe just like a few months, and then you're renting that property, you're paying rent for that. The investor, whoever owns the property, the property manager could come in and just do quick touch-ups and then get it back again on the market. That's usually it's light repairs that you come across, or sometimes you come across like a 2005, 2010, maybe 2015 home that it's really up. It's been taken care of it for the last 15, 20 years. And just like the maintenance of it, it's well done that it doesn't really need anything. Maybe you can just change like a color scheme. So that's where the paint comes into play into it. But it all comes down to how big like the property is as well too. So these are going to be, again, the basic repairs. Stick to these numbers, which I'm going to show you guys how you're going to be implementing like these numbers. Because again, we're going to be doing some live examples both on the ARV and the complete rental calculators. Next, whenever we're looking into like properties, first we have to know what the after repair value is, or how much will the property sell if it gets fully updated. Of course, we have to find out how much repairs we're going to be estimating based on that property, how many things it is that we're going to be listing into it, how many things are going to be needed to get done into it. And then next is going to be finding comparables or similar properties. So that's part of the ARV as well too, where we have to find properties that have been basically again fully updated by like another investor. Again, you're looking for properties that have a good amount of activity. And from that activity, again, it's a lot of flicks and flippers that are coming in, updating those homes. So we have to find similar homes to the home that we're looking into. So if we're looking for a 1945 home, we want to make sure that we're comparing it to a 1945 to like maybe 1955 home that got updates done to it recently, maybe in the last 6 to 9 months. So we're basically going to be looking at some parameters. So whenever we're looking at properties that are similar, we have to stick to these comp parameters because an appraiser is basically going to be analyzing the property as such with these parameters. First things first is going to be the living space. The square footage has to be very similar. You can't compare a 1,000 square foot home to a 2,000 square foot home. It's a plus or minus 300. Lot size applies a lot into it if you're comparing if you're wholesaling land, because you can also wholesale land, or if you're looking at a farm style home where there's like 1, 2, 3, 5 acres of it. That's where you have to compare some of the land. But majority of the homes, if you're like on big cities or in the urban areas, and there's not an acreage into it, then you don't really have to compare the lot size of the property whatsoever. You do have to consider some factors. If it has like an extra bedroom, if it has like an extra, maybe has like a pool as well too. So again, you want to compare everything that has to be very similar to that other property that we're looking into. Next is making sure that you are finding properties within a half a mile to a 1 mile radius for it. And with that radius, is going to be a huge restriction, which is the next one of not crossing double yellow line roads or heavy traffic roads. So this is an example of a heavy traffic road over here in Long Beach. Basically, there's a lot of buses, semi trucks, heavy traffic from commuters that are going to and from work. So it's just a constantly busy road where an appraiser, no matter how similar the property is, they're not going to be comparing the property from the left side to another property on the right side, no matter how similar it is. Just because of that road, that's that major road where there's a heavy traffic is basically it's separating the neighborhoods. So the left side is going to be one neighborhood and the right side is going to be a completely different neighborhood. Another thing that does apply into it is railroads. Railroads, it really depends on the area, on how it's like split up. Sometimes it's the same neighborhood, same style homes, and just the railroad happens to be cutting off that neighborhood for whatever reason. That's the way it was designed there. So sometimes some railroads you do have to include into it, and then sometimes you can make an exception. Again, this does vary on different cities. Of course, I was mentioning make sure that you're comparing apples to apples or the same year of a property, which is plus or minus 10 years on it. And the major one of it all is make sure that if you find only one property that is fully updated, that won't really count. Unless you can definitely get away with it, unless you have a specific end buyer that you worked with in the past and they accepted your one comp and they just really want to take any deal whatsoever, even if you bring them just one comp. That's the only exception. Excuse me, that's the only exception that I can come across in mind where you can definitely get away. But majority of the time, you definitely want to have 3 to 5 comparables that are fully updated and again within these same parameters into it. Again, if you guys have any questions, make sure you guys put it in the chat. If there's no questions for right now, I'll definitely allow you guys to unmute yourselves afterwards at the end of the meetup. So that way, if you have any questions, I'll leave the mics open for everybody. Uh, but the next thing is we're gonna be doing some live examples. This is actually today is January 31st. I actually want to mention that today is actually the last day for you guys to get the calculators for free, which I'm gonna show you guys which is the one which ones are we gonna be using. This is the coupon code. It's going to be coupon code not gatekeeping, which is going to be complete for free. You're not going to be paying anything for it. And then you're going to have access to the ARV calculator, which I'm going to show you guys how it's going to get done right now live. Two, it's a complete rental one, which we're going to go through it as well too. And also the one that is coming up is the seller finance one, which is a creative way to like doing things. This also will be available to you with it's going to be available with the pro bundle, so make sure you guys do get the pro bundle. That one's going to give you access to all 3 of them. So don't get individually, but today, January 31st, it is the last day where you can get it completely for free. After today, starting tomorrow, is going to be a paid subscription, so take advantage of that before it goes away. But now let me end this and let me access the recordings. Not the recordings, where's it at? Where's this thing at? You guys on my left side actually. And I dropped the link of the calculators on and also the coupon code on the chat as well too, so you guys should be able to see it. But I am trying to share this. Not right here. Bam. All right. Are you you guys able to see my screen by any chance? Just want to make sure that you guys are able to see it. You can just put yes or something on the chat so I can know. Because sometimes it doesn't highlight it. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. All right, so this is going to be the calculator. This is going to be the ARV one, and this is going to be the complete rental one. So with the live examples, we're going to be using a live example of one of each. I do go through it. There's a video explaining it there as well too. But I'm going to be showing this live, and these recordings do get recorded and do get uploaded to the real estate education. So that way you can go back to previous cases. There's quizzes, there's blogs as well too. And so everything will be available through there. But for today's examples, I'm going to be using this spin the wheel because again, there's 50 states, there's different markets across the board. I don't like to talk about my market specifically. I want to even catch up to like markets that I've never wholesale from. Like Connecticut. I actually never wholesale a deal in New Haven, Connecticut. And so I'm going to be showing you guys how to go through the steps of understanding the market and then see if we can find a deal because there are going to be deals. Part of the process is going to be finding properties that are listed in the market. And then you might be asking, well, why are we looking for properties on the market? Because you can still find deals on the market. And honestly, I prefer to work with agents because agents are already doing a lot of the hard work. They're already doing the mailing, they're already doing the drop campaigns, they're already doing the cold calling. And all I want to do is just get in touch with somebody who has a property and just let them know, especially with agents, I like to let them know, look, I don't have anyone representing me. Yeah, are you able to get double the commission? Because if you're able to do double the commission, by all means, but I want to make sure I also get like a deal out of it as well too, because it has to make sense on my side on the numbers, which I use the calculator to make sure it makes sense in terms of my side on the numbers. What was the city? New Haven? It was oh yeah, New Haven. New Haven, Connecticut. So let's try to find a property over here. Now, part of the process of the calculator, it is that we need to basically find a asking price or get a number. So let's say I'm using an example right now where properties are listed with an asking price or a selling price. Let's say you're reaching out to sellers directly, you're reaching out to like local homeowners, tax delinquencies, whatever type of list that you have that you're reaching out to, and you're like, well, what if I don't have an asking price or selling price? Part of the process of you making that outreach is to try to get a number. It's try to ask like, hey, Mr. or Miss Seller, how much are you looking to sell this property for if they're interested on selling? And also make sure that you find like their motivation. That's the number one thing. Finding their motivation is the key thing, because if they have no motivation and they're just throwing numbers, then they're never really going to want to sell. And so that's one way of getting it. Another way of getting it is Zillow. uh, Zillow, Redfin, because that's the platform I'm using. Also PropWire. Looks like I need to log in here. Also PropWire. Oh my God, I hate when this thing kicks me out. Also, PropWire allows you to find out how much a property is worth. A lot of homeowners go to Zillow. So they automatically go to like Zillow and they type in their address into it. And then Zillow is going to do what's called like their estimate. Uh, for example, this one doesn't have like the asking price for it or what the property is worth. The only difference between Zillow and what you're going to be doing, which is your due diligence. Here's an example of a estimate. The property selling for 150 and it's worth 140. This estimate is 149,700. So the only difference with Zillow and your due diligence is that Zillow doesn't know if the property's condition got fully updated or what's going on. So that's why a property has to get appraised, and the appraiser is going to come in. The appraiser is going to go through these parameters. They're going to be, he or she's going to be sticking through these parameters and make sure that they're able to find similar homes. So that way they can see how much the property's value is if after it gets fully repaired. So it's a plus and minus numbers in real estate. So just be ready about that. But that's how you're able to find out through Zillow, through PopWire, same thing. Let me see. Let me just get like a random address over here. And I'm basically going to be typing in or just going to be copying it here. PropWire, it's a free subscription. You don't have to pay anything for it whatsoever. I'm just going to do like a random. I don't really care. But a PropWire, the only thing you have to pay for is if you want to skip trace or basically collect a phone number or possible phone numbers of the homeowners. That's the only thing you have to pay for. Like right over here, you press skip trace and it's 10 cents to skip trace the homeowner. And this is another example of how much the property is worth. We'll give you the estimated value. The thing with PropWire, same thing. What I like about it, it's like the radius, but again, you have to do your due diligence and see if there's any property selling around the area. Like over here, there's nothing really selling. So that estimated value, I have to go plus or minus with it. And that's where I have to reach out to the seller, be like, how much is it exactly that you're looking to get out of it? Again, I'm not really trying to focus on all the steps of negotiating, but that's how you're able to get like some phone numbers. So for right now, I'm basically looking at New Haven. In New Haven, there's about 190 properties. I want to get like a sense. It is close to the water. So this is where I have to put my mindset. Number one is I have to think like I'm the actual buyer. And me thinking as an actual buyer, I don't know how much it rains over here in Connecticut. Pretty sure Mike does. I like a lot. Again, I don't know how it is in the East Coast. I live in the West Coast, so that's the thing about it is finding out how bad like the floods are over here. So I have to consider that as well too. Foundations, if there's a lot of floods, is there going to be a lot of issues with the foundation where there's going to be leaks? So this is something that I have to think about. From my experience, it's just a lot of things that I've learned along the way from multiple cities and states of doing some deals where I actually learn from agents. They tell me like I always like to ask like how what's like the major problem over here? Is it termites because it's humid? Is there a lot of major foundation issues? Is there usually does it snow as well too? It's just I got to think about all factors into like a deal. So again, I'm putting my mindset if I'm the actual buyer at the end of the day. So for this New Haven, that's the number one thing I'm thinking already off the bat of how much is it going to cost for any type of floods or how many floods happen throughout the year over here in New Haven. So now I'm going to be setting up some filters. For these filters, again, we're going to be looking at a single family home. Single family homes that have been sitting for more than 45 days. The reason why is one, the seller has done multiple price drops. Two, the seller might be more motivated. And again, the agent is going to let us know if there's definitely a room for negotiation. Three, the property might have been under contract and it went back again to it getting listed because maybe there was something wrong with the property, or the most common answer you get from agents is, yeah, the seller's finance fell through. So those are the reasons I like to look for properties that have been sitting for more than 45 days because, again, there's going to be either high motivation or there's something really wrong with the property. And both of those, it's a possibility of getting a huge discount of it. Whenever I'm looking for properties, I am looking for properties that are 1,000 square feet and higher. So I have a total of 59 homes over here in New Haven, Connecticut. Not a lot, but it's the best thing that I'm able to work with. Because again, if all 50 states I were to look at, there's going to be at least one deal that you can get into it. And the thing about that one deal is you want to get to it as quickly as possible because competition in real estate wholesaling, just anything related to like real estate, the competition is going to be high no matter what the market is, except for like some farm style ones. Again, that's doing more numbers in terms of that. But basically, just as soon as you're able to find like a deal, get to it as quickly as possible. You don't want to miss out on the opportunity that somebody else snatched it just because you're like, oh, I wasn't able to call them today. Even sending a simple text message to the seller or to the agent, depending who it is that you're reaching out to, a simple text message of, hey, I'm interested on this property. Is it still available? Bam, it opens the door for a response either that same night or the following day, and maybe you're the last hope or one of their hopes that they've been looking for, and you're able to get a deal. So honestly, real estate, it's all about taking action. So whoever takes the most action is the one who's going to be profiting the most because it's all about getting there first at the lowest price. So let me look for some properties. Some of them that have been sitting again for like a little bit of a while. Looks like we have properties sitting for almost 265 days already, so almost a whole year. Again, I'm looking based on the list of repairs. Is it gonna need just carpet and paint, or is it gonna need floors, kitchen, bathroom, paint, lights, also maybe some other major things, water heater, HVAC? What is it going to need in terms of it? For gut job repairs, this is going to be more like a property that is completely stripped down to the studs. There's no walls, there's no floors, there's no kitchen counters, there's nothing whatsoever. It's just straight up home frame and nothing else whatsoever. There are going to be doors and windows, of course, but I don't think I'm going to be finding that over here. You're going to find a lot of those in Chicago. You'll definitely find plenty of those, and they're usually priced between like 10 to like $50,000. But for this one, I like this one so far just because the outside of it looks a little bit outdated. There are no pictures inside. Oh, great. But I am reading the description, and this actually, we're not going to be starting with the fully occupied one unit, tenant place utilities. So this property is actually a rental property, which I actually want to start with the Airbnb, but hey, we come across properties that are being sold as is, whereas inspections for informational purposes only. I don't know what that means with the agent, but I don't care about that. But this property has been listed for 265 days. So let's go through it. I definitely have to reach out to the agent, which I'm not going to do it right now because, again, I'm just more training on it. I'm not doing any cold calling live right now. Um, and it's already like 9:30 p.m. over there. But I can send a simple text message. But again, I'm not trying to do a deal right now in Connecticut uh, at night. But there's not a lot of pictures of the inside, so that's the only thing that's holding me back. But let me read the description because the thing that I did notice is being rented out right now. So fully occupied, one unit. I would expect it being just a home. It doesn't say duplex or anything like that. Beautiful light blue slide. That siding doesn't even work though. I don't know what you're talking about. Newly paved driveway. The driveway's newly paved. It has already cracks on it. I saw like a crack over here. Watch. Where did I see a crack? A crack right over here. I don't know how new this is. If it's new, it should be black. But I mean, I don't have any experience. I don't know. I need to park 8 cars in this property. Second floor has an auxiliary room located in the historical west. Awesome. Athletic fields close. Okay, awesome. Close to hospitals. So it looks like this is a hospital home. And I always like to make fun of agents' descriptions because some of them are pretty funny. And some of them get creative, and then some of them are strictly informational. And this is an informational one just because of the rent. So this is the way we're going to be starting. Instead of the ARV, we're going to start with the rental calculator. Because again, if you come across a deal that it's a rental and you don't know how to analyze the property because it's a rental, and you miss an opportunity of finding a buy and hold buyer because you couldn't wholesale because you couldn't figure out how to do the numbers for the rental property, then usually rent rental properties, especially single family homes that are being rented, always pick up in value significantly a lot more. And a lot of buy and holds prefer to play the patience game and then play the value of the home, or even just do slight updates that brings a significant amount of value into it. So learning how to analyze a property based on its rents, it is extremely important for you to do because you are definitely going to come across properties that are being rented, and it's always recommended to keep properties that are rented to still be rented because they could cash flow or they cannot cash flow. But if they can't cash flow, it's because maybe it needs some work, and that's how you're able to get a deal out of it as well too. So for this purpose, on this property, what property is this? For this training and this based on this property, we're going to be using our Zillow rent estimator. You can literally type it on Google, Zillow rent estimator, type in the property address, and it's going to tell you how much the property can rent for. The agent is telling us 2,400, but this property can rent from 25 to 3,700. I'm gonna play it safe, and actually I'm gonna head over to this 2,900. Because again, if the tenants are gonna be moving out or if they're already fully moved out, by all means. If the tenants want to stay, then yeah, it depends if they're already on a lease or if they're month to month. So it really depends on all those factors that I have to find out. But if I know that I can rent it out for 2,900, I'll definitely want to rent it out for 2,900. So for the rental one, we're gonna put the asking price, which is 270. 270. Again, I'm putting myself as if I'm the actual buyer. If I were to buy this property, especially being a rental property, I have to go through all this and I have to put my mindset into I'm buying this property, I'm buying this property, I'm buying this property. I want to know what my expenses will be, how much I need to put down, all these factors. So we're gonna go through this together. So the property is listed for 270. I can get an interest rate right now of 7.25. Maybe I can get a less if I purchase points. But if I were to put 20% down, it will be $54,000 for a 30-year term. My monthly payment is going to be $1,400. That's already significantly good, but it's not great, but it's good so far. Closing costs. There was a study done that 45% of sellers do not know that they have to pay closing costs. Me as an investor, I do know that I have to pay closing costs. So that's what I have to put in here. Closing costs do range between 2 to 5%. I'm always going to go with the highest. I'm trying to play it safe just in case of anything. So my closing costs are going to be 13,500. So my initial investment on how much I need to bring at the end of closing is going to be $67,000 and $500. Now the property is a 4-1 1596 property. So now I have to go through the rents. I don't have a 4-1 listed over here. So I'm gonna go with the highest one, which is gonna be a 3-2. Yeah, it's gonna be a 3-2 um property. Actually, I can do a 3-1 just because it's only one extra bedroom. So one unit it can rent out for $2,900. I just checked it out on Zillow, and I can take it even further, find out where the property is, that 270, and go through Redfin, change this instead of for sale, change this for rent. And it looks like there's a 3,100 property over here, 1,500 square feet, 5.2 is in my property, 1,500. So that's an example right here. But this property, it is fully updated. So this is something that is definitely going to cost as well too. But this is basically what we have to do to this specific property because they're the same square footage as well too. And this is being rented out for, and it's also 2 levels. Awesome. But this is being rented out for 31.96, 30, basically $3,200. The other thing about it is, that's the thing, is going to take some repairs for it, but maybe I'll play it safe and I'll go down to like 2,800 because if that one's going for like 32 fully updated, then I definitely have to do work. Actually, I'm gonna go with safe. I'm gonna play with $2,700. Why? It's just again playing it safe. I'm sticking with maybe what the agent is telling me, or maybe I go a little bit higher from it. It just really depends on what the situation is with the current tenant. But let's say I'm able to get $2,700 for it. There's a huge garage into it. Maybe I can convert the space of like the lot or the parking is into like into adding like a storage unit, so that way I can bring like extra income onto like the property. There's no garage, there's like a driveway, pavement, laundry, it's inside the home. So my extra income, but I have to spend money to it. So I don't want to spend any money. I want to keep spend as less money as possible right now. I'm just go I'm just gonna stick with the income, but the monthly income of the $2,700 for the property. My gross income, so $2,700 times 12 months, my basically what my yearly income will be. This is how much income I'll be bringing in every single year, which is $32,400. Now my expenses, the standard rule is 40% for all rental properties. 40% is the standard across the board. 30% is if you're local and then you want to be your own landlord for your own properties, then you can drop it to like 30%. And what those percentages of expenses break down to is taxes, insurance, HOA. If there's HOA, there's going to be maintenance, vacancy, property management. Usually it's 10% for property management. So that's why it's a 10% difference because 40% you have somebody else managing it, especially if you're out of state. So, but if you're in state, then it's gonna be like 30%. You can break down the expenses over here. I'm gonna stick to my 40% rule just so that way, again, I'm playing it very safe. And so my expenses are gonna be $12,960, which is going to bring me a net, so this is after expenses, a net income of $19,000 or $1,600 every single year. Now, the other thing too is I haven't included my mortgage. So my mortgage is a different expense, which it's called debt service. So debt service, or AKA the mortgage, is going to be a total of 17,682. And you may be asking, how is it that you come up with that number? The way it goes, it's right up here. You multiply 1473, which is my monthly payment, multiply that times 12, because 12 months in a year. That's going to give you that 17,682. So yes, I have my net operating income, but then I do have my mortgage to pay for. So that I have to subtract those two, 19,000 minus 17,000. Basically for this specific property, I'm cash flowing around $1,700 every single year, or my monthly cash flow is $146. So far, so good. I do have to do further due diligence. I'm not going to do that right now. But usually, when it comes to rental properties, I like to go based on the cap rate. And this might be a little bit hard to explain or to like understand, but I'm gonna try to explain to the simplest form that I can. Basically, cap rate is the lower the number it is, the riskier the investment is. The higher the number it is, the safer the investment will be. Because the way the strategy goes in cap rate is you want to buy high cap rate and sell low. Because the higher the cap rate it is, the lower the price of the property you're acquiring it for will be. The lower the cap rate of the property is, the higher the property's price will be. And here, let me show you an example. My standard cap rate for investments is going to be 10%. So 10% and higher. The higher it is, the better it will be. So let me give you guys an example. This property's cap rate based on the current numbers, if I were to buy it, you know what? I'll buy it for the 270. I'll put the $67,000 down. I'll get a loan. Basically the property, I'll rent it out and everything. I'll worry about all that. The property I'm buying it around 7.2% cap rate. It's cash flowing me a little bit. I don't like it, but that's how it is right now. It looks like over here in Connecticut. But again, my investment strategies are 10% and higher. So what I'm gonna head over to is I'm gonna head over to this cap rate section. And over here, it already does the number for me. So if I were to put it, was it 7.2%? If I were to put it 7, I can't do like 0.2% specifically, but basically this is the 7%, which is close to like the purchase price. But if I need to buy it at a 10% or higher, I basically need to purchase this property for $194,000. That's a $80,000 difference on the price. And again, that's part of the game. The property, I'm gonna come to the agent. I'm gonna let him know, hey, I don't have anyone representing me. Can you represent me in this deal? I can see that the property can rent for $2,400. Maybe I even put in that number as well too, so that way I can even negotiate it even better. So uh, I'm gonna go based on what the agents tell me. I can see that the property can rent for $2,400. But the property, it's not bringing me any money in buying it at $270,000. So I actually need to buy it around $172,000. And if I were to put $172,000, 800, same rate, same interest rate, 7.25, 30-year long term, 20% down. My monthly payment went down significantly. Awesome. My initial investment dropped down $20,000, which is amazing. The property is renting out for $2,400. It's going to bring me the income. My expenses dropped like a little bit just because again of my interest rate and all that. My net operating income, it did drop a little bit as well too. But now at a 10% cap rate, the property skyrockets in cash flow. It went from negative numbers all the way up to 5,963. Of course, it is a long shot to get $172,000, but I have to negotiate that because again, buying it at the 270 it doesn't bring me any income whatsoever. Why am I going to buy a property that is not cash flowing on day one? So that's why we need, as an investor, I need to play it to the best of my ability, safe. But I also have to find out, do my research on the area as well too. I have to understand what the average cap rate of New Haven, Connecticut is. And the way I can do that is I can just copy the zip code, the city, all that, and then type in average cap rate, uh, single family home investment in paste and average cap rate. Investment properties in New Haven, cap rate traditional is 3.1%. Hey, 3.1, but it's at 7%. So it looks like I won't be able to get away with um looks like I won't be able to get away with that 10%. So maybe I need to play it even safe as well too. Let me close all these tabs. This is just from the first source. I gotta go through all these apartments valuations. Connecticut actually 7.03. So it looks like the property is right on the spot. So actually I can get away with like 10%. Because I was looking at this one right over here. Cap rate in New Haven County, Connecticut, 7.03%, 1, 2, 3 floors, 1949 or higher possibly. So this apartment's valuation um, analyzer tells me what the cap rate is per county, per and per state as well too. And so far, it was just mentioning about Connecticut. I don't know where it went to it for Connecticut, but here it is. It's right over here. So it looks like the average cap rate is 7%. So like I said, I can definitely probably get away with like 172. If I need to, I'll probably drop down to like 9%. So I can probably get it to like that $192,000. And let's see what it brings me at $192,000. At $192,000, I'm still cash flowing $4,000, 9.8% cap rate. And it looks like I'm gonna break even in about 122 months or roughly around 10 years. on this investment. So this is a good investment. Again, I'm thinking as an end buyer, but I still need to wholesale this. So I also have to consider how much I can wholesale this rental property for, because that's something that my end buyers could be paying for it. So if I get on the contract for 192, how much more are they going to be paying for it? Maybe I'll do like a standard 15,000 wholesale fee, and we make negotiations down to like $10,000. And the reason the buyer will want to get it is they're going to play the long-term game of taxes, depreciation on the taxes, appreciation, because it's a single family home. Single family homes appreciate a lot more, especially being rented out as well too, just because you can do a lot of more updates into it, and again add a lot of other stuff to it. So the end buyer can basically update it and make it retail friendly. And where retail friendly is, if you're a first time home buyer and you're like, oh, this is our dream home, then this is the type of home that they'll want to buy, and the property's values could be significantly, especially in 10 years. How much is this property going to be worth in 10 years from now? Is it going to be worth more than $200,000? Because I already got it under contract for way less than what the agent and the seller are asking for it. The reason I can get away with it is because how long it's been sitting for it. So that's how the numbers will work in terms of like the rental calculator. But again, I'm putting myself into that mindset of being an end buyer for it. So that's an example of the complete rental calculator. So again, if you guys want to get it, get the coupon, use the coupon code not gatekeeping so that we have access to that. But make sure you get the pro bundle though. Get the pro bundle. Don't get it individually. Now I want to do an example. Actually, before I actually move on to example, any questions by any chance at the moment that you guys can want to drop, or in the chat that you want me to retouch all over again, is something about the rental. If you don't, if you want to go back to this video again, you can go back to it on the educational side on my website, and it's going to be uploaded right there on the most recent Zoom educations. But any questions right now in terms of like rental calculations before I move forward? No? Nothing? Awesome. All right, let's move on forward. If you guys do have a question, just drop it in chat. But let's move on to finding a property that needs a good fix and flip. So honestly, I'll call this as a deal. If anybody wants to wholesale virtually, especially with this property, hey, by all means, take it. I'm calling it right now. This is a deal that you can for sure get a good deal out of it and get a wholesale deal out of it. I'm just saying, I don't want to take it. It's open to all you guys. Let's move on to something else that is more fix and flip type of style. So let's look for a fix and flip property. Okay, what's going on with Redfin? Come on, come on. Clear out, clear out. Let's look. Oh, what's this one? It's a big home though. Big home, a little bit outdated. Okay. 650, really close to the other property that we were just checking out. I'm gonna look for, oh, I didn't set the I took away the parameters. So house that has been sitting for more than 45 days. Sometimes you can get away with the homes that are just recently in the market just because of urgency. Like, oh, the seller needs to get a seller as quickly as possible. All right, cool. I can help out with that. This one is what how I hate relationship with agents. It's just they don't post pictures. It's 181 days old and there's no pictures. Property sold in a package. All right, cool. But I don't care. Like, what pictures? 180 days, no pictures? Come on, man. All right, let's check out this one. Another agent. Maybe this is why properties are not selling. It's just agents are not very agents are not very informative. They like to be very exclusive. They're like, oh, you can only get the information if you sign up to my email. Like, what's up with all these pictures? Three, four, five, six, seven properties and no inside pictures. Barely one of them. This looks like a monster house. Yeah. Well, welcome to another property that has no repairs. I can't do the estimates and repairs because I can tell the agent, look, I need to spend about $70 a square foot on this. You're not showing me the inside. This is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that is not updated. But my question is, if this property is fully updated, it's not an this is the thing. These roads are kind of like splitting it apart from these other properties. But if this property is fully updated and it's selling for 255, these monster homes, like these ones, I can imagine them being really bad inside. And new heavy opportunity, the location's Hamilton, 1 unit asset, it's tenant penny. Looks like there's a lot of tenant in place type of homes over here. So all the ones that have the pictures are already fully updated. There's another one that I got fully updated. The before and after. Oh, hold on. Are you tired of being outbid? Hold on. This is kind of sketchy. This is kind of sketchy because it's not a real picture. That's how the property looks. So they're doing a mock-up. And I love these because mock-ups tell me that this is a property that needs work and the agent know it needs work. And if I were to update the bathroom to look like this, it's gonna need some good amount of investment into it. So they're showing me what the possibilities, and they use AI because why would there be a chair in the middle of the kitchen? Oh, it's a trash bag. The trash bag is is a chair. Oh my God, that's funny. Uh, eh, It's whatever they're using it, man. So kitchen. So far, I'm already listing it. Ceiling, lights, kitchen, bathroom, floors. Who knows what else this thing needs? That's average repairs. I'm gonna go with high average repairs onto this. So let's see. I'm gonna use this as an example. Where's this property at? Right over here. All right, cool. That way I can find again. I'm looking for properties that sold in the last 6 months that are fully updated. And here's the problem. I have a huge gut feeling that New Haven, Connecticut, there's not a lot of investors into here, but hey, we'll see what we can find. We will see what we can find, honestly. It's not looking good so far. Okay, cool. Now it looks a little bit better. But let's go through let me close the complete rental one. Let's go through the this one right here. So 265, it's a 5'2", 1,800 square feet. Um, Whenever they put 1,800 square feet or it's an even like flat number, 1,500, 1,300, 1,200, always confirm it's the right size because sometimes it's really not. It will show if I were to Redfin, Zillow, a PropWire, PropStream, whatever platform you're using, even if you go to the county records across the board, there's gonna be different numbers. If the same number pops up, then it is accurate. But if it's not, then that's the thing about it. That's something you have to do consider into it. Because if you're offering in numbers because of the square footage, that's something significantly that can affect you. Um, so you do have to confirm certain information like basement, square footage, update utilities, and what else is going on with it as well too. So asking 265, 1,800 square foot home. There's no basement here. Actually, are there basements in Connecticut? Um, Basement description. Oh, it does have a full basement. That's another thing I do have to check it out. It doesn't tell me exactly what the basement is. 1,800 square feet living. Usually for basements, it's half of the living space. Sometimes it's half, majority of the time it's half. Sometimes it's roughly the same size as the living space. So right now I'm gonna play it safe and I'm gonna say it's actually half. For this deal, I'm trying to wholesale the deal. So off the bat is giving me a possible offer, what I need to submit my offer to. This is kind of like my MAO or my maximal allowable offer so far. But I need to go through my due diligence. I need to go through the rest of the steps first so I can estimate what's going on. Also, as mentioning, I'm gonna go full based on average repairs. Going back to average repairs, they're between 25 to like $40 a square foot. Um, I'm gonna play it safe, and just because maybe Connecticut might be kind of expensive out there, um, again, I always have to play it safe. So I'm thinking myself as an investor, how much would am I able to get? Especially if I'm not local, I need to get in touch with like a local contractor, get a quote, have them inspect the home for me. They're gonna give me I can possibly negotiate like their number, but they will give me like a number and I have to estimate based on that as well too. So again, I'm just putting myself in terms of like the end buyer. Living space square footage 42. For the basement, the rule of thumb is it has to be half of the price of the living space. So if it's $42 a square foot in the living space, is going to be $21 per square foot in the basement. Because it is a full basement. I just don't know if it's a finished basement because the agent didn't put the information over here. If it's a full finish or if it's a full unfinished basement. There's a difference, trust me. Now especially with this property, uh, this property is a property that needs to get fully, it's a fix and flip, and the property needs to get fix and flip to for an end buy or to a retail buyer. A retail buyer is again a first-time home buyer that is looking for like their dream home, and that's what we're trying to make out of this property over here. Great area, parking over here, not a lot of traffic. There's speed bumps, so that way any drunk people or anything, any drunk drivers, hopefully there's not any over here. Oh, it looks like there's not one over here. Should be safer to put one right there, but you know, I'm not the city. But what I'm looking for over here, I'm trying to get a sense of like of the neighborhood. Also check out if there's any other properties as well too that can look similar or worse that I can virtual wholesale. Let's say this property looks like complete crap from the outside. It just there's a shattered window, overgrown grass, whatever it is. Basically, this property it looks the same. Hey, that's another opportunity for you to reach out to that one. Actually, here's one right here: overgrown grass area, large trees, old windows, broken uh what's it called, window covers. I can't even think of it right now. So that's an opportunity right there. Maybe that's what maybe it doesn't look like that, but I don't know. You never really know unless you actually try. And earlier, one of the other properties we were looking at, it said like there was like a new pavement. This is what a new pavement looks like. Recently black. It does have a crack, but that's perfectly fine. That's a new pavement for sure. So that other rental property we were looking for, it said new pavement. I didn't see new pavement. This is a new pavement right there. A great example. Again, I didn't mention it. I did mention it. From my experience, I know what it looks like, what a new pavement looks like. Now over here, this property does look like it gets taken care of. It has a garden over here. But that's what I'm looking at. I'm just scouting like the neighborhood, try to get like a sense of how it is, traffic, neighbors as well too. Because again, we're bringing the standards from the property up higher. And what's going to happen is if we bring the standards higher to the neighborhood, then the neighbors are possibly going to be interested on selling their home. And guess what? I'm probably going to be reaching out to those homeowners before that other home gets completely finished and it sells back again on the market for retail price, that hey, if you're interested in selling your home, we're working on that project. Would you be interested on selling your home by any chance? It will be a cash offer, but I'm not sure if you might be interested in selling your home. And again, that opens up opportunities. It's just opportunities are always there if you're open-minded to seeing it. Okay, this is an opportunity. But of course, you have to do your due diligence to make sure that the deal makes sense, and of course, make sure that you find the seller's motivation and a price point as well too, how much they want to get, and the time frame that they're looking to get that access to that cash right away. So this is what helps you out. These are my strategies that I like to do whenever I'm looking at properties. And so far, I found another possibility, another deal as well too. Maybe this blue looking home, it's another deal as well too. Blue siding looks like there's already some mold going on. This pillar looks like it's tilted. There's like a missing wood over here. It's just like the property is getting neglected. So that's two properties in one freaking street. I don't know yet, but that's the thing. I have to do reach out. But moving forward to like the repairs. Sorry, I got sidetracked with that, but it's just those are little gems I want to put into place so that way you guys can see how to analyze deals and don't just stick to just one deal because again, you want to have backup opportunities because if one property doesn't work, move on to the next opportunity. If that one doesn't work, move on to the next. And you want to have backups. And the more backups you have in a specific area, the more you're able to understand that area, that it's going to be easily for you to come across deals and understand how much repairs it needs and all this, and basically how to do the whole analysis for that specific area. So it just helps you on your skills. So I hope those gems really help you guys out. Now for the repairs, it needs about $94,000 in repairs. Again, I'm thinking as an investor, I need to flip this deal. On my flip deal, I'm going to be thinking about commissions and everything. So I want at least my profit to be around $15,000, 15,000, 15% on the deal. So now I have two resale prices. Resale price on the left side is basically what the agent is telling me. So the agent is telling me if I buy this property for $265,000, I pay the closing costs for the seller and my closing costs. I bring in $94,000 worth of repairs. And of course, I make my profit. I need to sell the home for $443,000, $443,000. Now, if I were to fix and flip, or maybe possibly even wholesale this, let's go with the fix and flip. If I were to fix and flip this deal, the highest I want to purchase the home is $185,000. If I were to get it for 185, same thing, pay the closing costs. Not these ones. The closing costs are going to be different. The closing costs, of course, the repairs are going to be the same. My 50% profit. I need to resell the property at a retail price of $343,000. Now the question is, this is where I have to do my due diligence. What is the area selling for on properties that are fully updated? Are they selling at 443 or are they selling at 343? Because whichever number comes out the most, then that's where I have to like determine where it goes. But I do have to put based on the price per square foot, because not every property I come across is going to be 1,800. Again, it's going to be plus 300 or minus 300 in the comp parameters. So I have to put in the price per square foot on the properties that I find. So now let me look for some properties. I got to look for a property that is plus 300. So that's going to be 2,100. There's no 2,100. So it looks like I got to go to 2,250. And the lowest it's 1,500. Let's see how many. I have 5 comps. Now, the next thing is, which is the major one. Part of the comp parameters is this one. Do not cross double yellow line roads. I gotta go back to Street Viewer and I gotta check it. Wait a minute, what? Why does this neighborhood look different than this one? Whoa, 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 whoa. What? Where is this property at? Is it the same? Oh, I think it is. It's just that hospital. Sorry, that hospital threw me off. It really threw me off guard. I don't know why. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh God, I was like, I got so scared. Now I gotta go back to Street Viewer. The reason why is I gotta check out these roads. So far I have this one. So this is that other road that was across like this grass area. Our subject properties are over there, the green one. So this is kind of like the border because there's heavy traffic going one way. So it looks like there's like a junction. So that's my border there. What about north? Heading north, right over here. This is a it is a double yellow line road. I'm looking how many cars. Oh, so it looks like buses. Yep, there's a bus that passes right here. So this is kind of like my border up north. So basically, I gotta stick to this neighborhood. And Zillow, Redfin, and PropWire, they have this little drop button. So I'm gonna select this little drop button, and I'm basically sticking to this. It's kind of short, but it's just that's what it's happening on this specific property. That's kind of like my area. And there's only one property that sold in the last 6 months, and it sold for 270. It's 1820, so similar size. But the only thing is, um, it's a while. August of 2023. I mean, it is within that 6 month period, but I mean, this property is in good condition. Looks like this is a rental property, but we're not trying to update the property as a rental. because I think this was a rental property itself. Um, if I go back to it, let me close this. If I go back to it, looks like this is like a multi-family. This is a perfect owner-occupied investment. It's a 2 unit. Uh, so it's a duplex. This property is a duplex. So it's a property that got split up into two different apartments or units. So that property is not gonna really gonna work for us whatsoever. So honestly, there's no way there is no way for us to get a deal. Then we have this other one, but it crosses that major road where there's that the buses are passing by. So this is that example of I wouldn't compare. You have to compare apples to apples, and even this property is not fully updated whatsoever. So this is a property where I won't be able to get a deal whatsoever, just because um, there's no activity from other investors. And as you can see, there's other properties, but they're not really fully updated. I'm looking for something that it's like it has brand new floors, painting. Here we go. Here's an example. This is a great example, and it sold recently on January 18th. Outside, they could have done some work maybe, but they didn't. But this is what we have to do to the property. Gray walls, update flooring, ceiling lights, stairs, kitchen. They just updated very minimal. They did the cabinets, the counter is kind of very minimal as well too. But they brought in new appliances, or it has brand new appliances. So this is what the property has to be like. So just for example purposes, I'm gonna use this property. It is a little bit smaller and it only has 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. But how much did it sell for? The price per square foot, 155. I'm gonna use this again. If you guys come across a property that there's nothing whatsoever within the neighborhood, and then you're checking out other properties outside where there's like major roads, then it's not a deal. I'm calling this as a no deal, but because I want to show you guys how the calculator is going to be as an example basis, then I need to use a ARV, and I need to look for a AR, property that is fully updated and it's like recently sold. And this is a great example of what it needs to be. So if there's another property within my neighborhood that I need to look for, and the property looked like this, where it's fully updated, then I will use that as an example. But I will use that as a comp. But because there's no comps over here, it's not a deal. But again, I'm just using it for training purposes. So it was $115 a square foot, right? 155. So I'll put in 155 across the board because I only found one. And this is the average. So it's getting the average from all 3 comps. But what if you find only two? The deal's not going to work. It has to be at least three. Again, if you're already wholesaling and then you already have an end buyer that you can get away with 1 comp, then by all means, you can get away with 1 comp. But otherwise, if not, then it's really not going to work. Um, so this is my ARV for this property. This one is a 1800 property. Why is it 155? 155 six, okay. Sorry, I was like, what? 155 because this property sold for how much? Oh, 250. I thought it sold for like 393. Which it was this one. Sorry, I thought it was this one, this 393. I got excited for a second. Um, so it's 155 price per square foot. So my ARV, or what the property will need to will actually resell for, it'll be $279,000. So I will put in that as my ARV, 279. Awesome. I'm a fix and flip investor, so I'll definitely want to fix and flip this. And then now here's what it does. This does the numbers on what an actual end buyer will want to purchase the property for. So the property is listed for $265,000. It's been on the market for 100 and or 209 days. So it's been a while. Has it been under contract in the past? Uh, it has not been on the contract whatsoever. It's just been listed. They haven't even done a price deduct reduction whatsoever, too. So this property is just not getting any love whatsoever, and it's perfectly fine. Hey, if it's not getting any love, we might be that shot. So this is how much I'll need to buy the property for. If I was the actual buyer, I need to buy it for at least $100,000. I like to be aggressive and then work my way up to the most conservative way. But this will be my price range or my maximal allowable offer if I were to be like the actual end buyer. But now if I'm wholesaling this, then of course I need to get it a little bit, I need to get it lower than this. Or if I have room to negotiate, I have room to negotiate with my end buyer because again, the repairs, maybe the property's value is definitely be greater just because there is this other property that looked like complete oh, but this is 2000. Never mind. That's not gonna work. This one was 150. No, this is right. 155 is what I can get it for. Um, so this is how much I'll end up want to get on the contract for. Of course, I'll tell the agent or the seller, look, I'll pay like your closing costs so I can get like a deal out of it. And again, I want to at least make 15% out of the deal. So this will be my profit over here. Again, if I'm wholesaling this, if my investor's purchase price is $100,000, I need to get it under contract for less than that. I will start at $85,000, then go up 5,000, 90, 95, and then try to find buyers that can buy it for $100,000 or more in the area, which there's not a lot of end buyers that are fix and flippers over here. This one might be one that 251 that it's like really recently updated. That could possibly be an end buyer if they're still but they're not the homeowners anymore. But at the time that they were, that would have been like a good one. But that's the thing is the properties are not selling. The ARVs or the after repair values are very low over here. So this is the realistic stuff that I need to come to like the neighborhood. And this is the realistic purchase price that an end buyer will need to purchase it. As you can see, it's 60 to like 50% off from what the seller and the agent is asking for. But that's the thing. There's no activity on the property. There hasn't been a price reduction, and it's still sitting after 200 days. And there's no pictures of the too much of like the inside. So the $94,000 repairs, it can need more. Who knows? But this is how the calculators will help you out, like understand as a perspective of basically the seller, how much do they want and how much would actually need you need to resell it for you to make like your deal. What the actual numbers will be if an end buyer want to buy like your property or your contract, because then you're advertising your contract of assignment or purchase of a contract of assignment, depending on the asking price that you're asking for like that assignment. And it's all about working like the numbers, but again, it's making sure that you're doing your due diligence of understanding the repairs. Always stick to the average numbers. The resale price, put yourself as an end buyer, how much you need to resell it for. Do your due diligence, find out what the neighborhood and the market is actually showing you and what's actually happening today or in the last 6 to 9 months based on your research. If whatever it can sell for, then that's where you have to bring like your offer. Because again, there's not a lot of activity happening whatsoever in this area, and that's pretty reasonable. Even if this property sold in August for 275, kudos to them. But it's a multifamily property, so the numbers are different comparable to a single family. And other than that, there hasn't been any other activity. If I look at a year times, there's nothing, even within a year, there's no other homes selling within 1 year in the neighborhood. So it's just the neighborhood, there's not a lot of activity happening. But if I were to be the first investor, aka the investor that's going to take the high risk, but again, as we went through Street Viewer, there was other properties that can sell for, or that I can possibly homeowners that I can reach out to. Then they might be interested on selling their property just because again, there's a change happening in the neighborhood where one property it got updated and it resold for a good amount. Maybe the seller might be interested on doing that, or they might be interested in just getting the quick cash because they might have their reasons for doing so. So, or they might just get motivating on just selling the property just because this one sold and they were eager about something actually happening in the neighborhood for them to take that initiative of selling their home. But that's the way we analyze the properties in terms of a fix and flip to like wholesale or wholesale to a buy and hold with a rental analyzer property. So Any questions you guys have, I do have, again, get the calculators at midnight tonight is the last time where you're going to be able to get it completely for free by using the coupon code not gatekeeping, which is on the chat. And also any one-on-one sessions, if you guys need help more one-on-one, I am available one-on-one from there. But I'm gonna leave it open right now for some Q&A. If you guys have any questions, yeah, you are able to unmute yourselves. Or if you want to drop it in the chat, by all means. But this is Q&A time. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. No questions? Nothing? You guys got it down then? You guys, can you go over the PowerPoint slides? I'm actually gonna be up the PowerPoint slides is gonna get I've been getting actually a lot of requests about that. I'm actually gonna upload the PowerPoint slides onto the real estate education. So head over to my website, ltvargas.com, on the real estate education. Scroll down, there's files there. It's gonna be available there in the next 30 minutes. So I've been getting a lot of requests on that, and I haven't actually done that. So thank you for reminding me. Um, but any other questions by any chance? All right. I hope you guys learned enough on today's meetup. Again, this is a daily meetup, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you guys want to join on Friday, by all means, analyze a whole different market. If you have an address or a property you want me to analyze, by all means, drop it in the chat for the next meetup events. And I'll definitely love to use some live examples of properties that you guys are looking to like analyze. So that way you can understand and things to look for on neighborhoods. Because again, each city, each single market is going to be differently across the board. Trust me, Connecticut is different than California, than Kansas, than Alabama, than Indiana, than Chicago, Ohio, Nebraska, Arkansas, Utah. So it's going to be different across the board. So if you in the future, if you guys have a property to analyze, by all means, let's analyze it. And again, if you guys are interested in the calculators, get it completely for free before they go away, and you have to pay a subscription to it. But thank you guys. I really appreciate your support and coming into this meetup. And I'll see you guys on the next one on Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You guys have a blessed night, and I'll see you guys.